It is that time once again. My friends over at G Fuel have boosted my discount code IMMORTAL to get you 30% off your entire order from now through the 18th. So if you do want to stock up on your favorite flavor, grab a new shaker, or just try a starter pack, now is definitely the best time to do so. And now on to the regular video. We've seen the AUG appear in a few different Call of Duty titles in the past, including Black Ops 1 where it was an assault rifle, and also MW2 where it was a light machine gun. But here in Modern Warfare this year, the AUG is actually an SMG. However, thanks to the Gunsmith feature, we can end up changing that with a few certain attachments, and convert the AUG into its classic form of both an AR and an LMG, like what we have had in the past. So today we're doing just that, as we use the Gunsmith to build the classic AUG here in Modern Warfare. Before we jump into that though, if you guys are new here, we've been building a ton of secret weapon variants over the past couple of weeks, and we've got plenty more to come as well. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on if you do want to stay on top of all of that. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And now let's get into converting the AUG into both an assault rifle and a light machine gun here in Modern Warfare. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the assault rifle version of the weapon, and then get into the LMG a little later on, followed by an overall comparison of the two weapons, just one against the other, and also against the other popular weapons in the game right now. Now, the AUG is the very first SMG you end up unlocking in the game, so you will gain access to it pretty early on. However, to make the most ideal class setups for these two hidden variants, you are going to need to rank up the weapon to nearly its max rank of 57 in order to actually have all the attachments you'll need for these conversions unlocked, so just bear that in mind. Now, the first attachment you do want to have on the AR version of the AUG is the 622mm long barrel, which is the last barrel attachment you end up unlocking, so this one will take a bit of leveling to actually get to. Now, the main purpose of this attachment is to increase the weapon's overall range, as obviously since the base AUG is an SMG, it doesn't really have the greatest range in the world. However, this attachment ends up increasing the damage range, the bullet velocity, and the recoil control in exchange for a decrease in the aim down sight speed and also the overall movement speed. So by adding this barrel on there, you will notice that the weapon feels a bit heavier in general, both when you are moving around and also when you're ADSing, but the range is significantly increased. Then after that, we're going to be using an optic sight to really bring back that classic AUG feel, and here we're going with the Integral 3.0 times optic, which I'm just going to go ahead and say it's not really the best optic in the world. I would much prefer the GI Mini Reflex or even the Viper sight, but in true AUG fashion, this is the sight you'll need to use. It does end up giving you an increased zoom level so you can easily target enemies at greater distances, but it does have the con of a slower ADS speed. It's not super noticeable in my opinion, but it is there nonetheless. Following that up, we're going to throw on an underbarrel attachment next, and this is a bit more preference based. You don't necessarily need an underbarrel in order to make the classic AUG, but personally I do feel like it complements the class well. Here I chose the Ranger foregrip, which increases your recoil control and your aiming stability in exchange for a slower aim walking movement speed and a slower aim down sight speed. So once again, the mobility does end up taking a bit of a hit. However, that added recoil control is a huge benefit, especially when you are in those long-range engagements. We then have the 5.56 NATO 30-round mags ammunition attachment, and this is really the most important attachment of the entire setup, as it converts the AUG from a 9mm parabellum ammunition type to a 5.56 ammo type, which is what you are going to need in order to make this weapon a true assault rifle. Now with this, you do notice an increase to the damage and also to the range, and honestly both of those increases are pretty significant. Right away I noticed I was getting some pretty nice kills at a distance compared to before. However, this attachment does also decrease the aiming recoil control, but luckily that Ranger foregrip should actually help combat that. Then finally, on the assault rifle conversion, we have the stippled grip tape per usual, as this attachment is going to help increase the aim down sight speed and the sprint to fire speed in exchange for a decrease in aiming stability. So that effectively completes the AR version of the AUG conversion, and when we have all 5 of those attachments on there, you'll notice that the accuracy and the damage both increase quite a bit, the range increases an absolute ton, the fire rate and the mobility each decrease ever so slightly, and the control increases by a very small amount too. So we are really transforming the gun in some pretty major ways with this conversion, but before we see how it stacks up against the base AUG and some of the other weapons in the game, let's also break down the LMG conversion as well. Now on this conversion, we are once again using the 622mm long barrel, the Ranger foregrip, and the integral 3.0 times optic attachments, all for the same reasons as before. However, on this setup, we are actually using a stock option, and that is going to be the FFS Heavy Stock Pro attachment, which I figured fit well under the idea of this being an LMG type variant. Obviously, having a heavy stock is something you would see on an LMG, so that's my reasoning there. Now, the FFS Heavy Stock Pro ends up increasing your aiming stability, but also decreases your aim walking movement speed, which honestly just seems normal as an LMG is not going to be incredibly mobile as is. Then the other change that this conversion undergoes is an upgrade to the magazine, as we go from the 30 round mags of 5.56 ammo to the 5.56 NATO 60 round drums, which once again, when you are considering that this is supposed to be an LMG, LMGs typically have larger magazine sizes, so I figured this attachment fit well on this conversion too. So now with those 5 attachments on the AUG, you can see that once again the accuracy and the damage are increased, the range increases even more than before, as does the control by a little bit, but the fire rate ends up dropping and the mobility takes a massive plunge, and that is something you will definitely notice in game. So on the topic of how the AUG performs in game once you've actually built these conversion kits, right away the first major thing you'll probably notice between the base AUG with say a handful of attachments on it and these two variants is just how much more powerful the 5.56 variants really feel. Basically, I went from seeing the AUG as a mediocre SMG that just has some better range than some of the other options in the category to, wow, this thing has gotten me some kills that I absolutely should not have gotten. At the same time though, the AUG in its base form is a weapon that really excels up close, and when based around a run and gun playstyle, you can find a decent amount of success with it. But then when you go ahead and convert it into the assault rifle version of the weapon, you immediately notice that it feels a lot more bogged down and just heavy when you are running around. Regardless though, I still feel like I was able to do decently well with the AR conversion while still playing aggressive, at least for the most part, but I could definitely feel the difference in mobility. Then you get into the LMG conversion and honestly, just good grief, I am not exaggerating when I say that the mobility on this thing is absolutely awful. Adding on that stock and that larger drum magazine seriously makes this weapon feel like a true LMG, as the ability to run and gun is just honestly swept out from underneath you. So with that in mind now, when it comes down to the 3 conversions of the AUG that we have, that being the standard SMG version, the assault rifle version, and also the LMG version, I would absolutely pick to roll with the AR version every single day of the week. Now, I wouldn't necessarily run all of these attachments for the true conversion kit. I would probably change the optic out and maybe the underbarrel, depending on the map and how aggressive I want to play, but that damage increase with only a little mobility decrease compared to the LMG variant is a pretty nice balance between being too weak at long distances and too slow to run and gun. It offers a solid setup for anyone who likes to not sit back in their own spawn, but also doesn't like having to be within 5 feet of an enemy to do any kind of decent damage. Now, when compared to all of the other on-meta weapons, the AUG is something that I still don't really know how to feel about. Like I said earlier, there's certain gunfights with it that I'll win and I'm just like, wow, I honestly have no idea how I got that kill. And other times, I feel like I'll put way too many shots into someone for them to just kind of brush it off like it's nothing. Honestly, I still think the M4, the Kilo, the M13, and probably even the AK are all better choices than this, but really the AUG can perform as a middle-of-the-pack AR with the right attachment set up on it, so I would actually recommend giving it a go. On a scale of, say, 10, I'd probably give it 2 thumbs up, so take that as you will, but without a doubt, the AR version of the AUG is the best version of the weapon you can use for a balanced gameplay style. Obviously, if you are a bit more rush-friendly, the SMG might be the better route, or if you play it a bit slower, the LMG could be a good alternative too. So when choosing your class for this weapon, definitely take your preferred playstyle into consideration. Anyways, with all of that being said, that is how you can effectively make the classic AUG from either Black Ops or MW2 here in Modern Warfare. If you found the video helpful or if you just simply enjoyed it, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And of course, if you are new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of Call of Duty, including all the latest news and intel, updates and leaks, and everything else in between, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when I post a new video. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL on all G Fuel, Control Freak, and Respawn products. You can find all of those links listed down in the description below, and once again, thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.